It's the Ringside Club Pub. A.O. Blame Boogie, Chad Law. The power's back, triple power bomb. The big dog trio in the stream yard. Go outside, hit the venue guard. It's all love when you see us, Lord. Back to the pad, on air for the pod. Ringside Club, intro to the squad. Let the show start. Peace, 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 man. Peace to the gods, of course. Peace to the earths. Like we usually do every Thursday night, usually 9:05 live. We're slightly behind that. 9:45 live, why not? But we usually go live every Thursday night, live from the Empire Tri-State. It's the mightiest of the mighty, the Ringside Club. I believe this is episode number 107, man. What's good?
Man, we made it through these episodes, bro. A lot of episodes, you know what I'm saying? 100 of them things. It's only right we pod comfortably. You know what I mean? I'm feeling good tonight. Good rosé in my system.
Man, Chad from the Ringside Lounge over there.
Yeah, that's it.
From the Ringside Lounge. Of course, I'm coming to you live and direct from the studio. But before we get started, before we go any further, I want to let everybody know that QR code that's above my head that'll direct you to theringsideclub.com. All the past episodes are there. All the future episodes, of course, they are there. Go and get that merch. We got those Ringside Club tees, those Ringside Club hoodies. It's starting to get chilly. Hoodie season
is upon us, man.
Hoodie season is upon us. It is back live and direct. But you head over to the ringsideclub.com. Of course, we're on all social media. That's TikTok, Instagram, heavy on the X, formerly known as Twitter, for as long as Elon Musk decides to not fuck it up any further than he already is. And of course, everywhere the podcasts are available. So that includes Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, all of the above, plus YouTube for the on-air and the on-demand of the visual variety. With that being said, I go by the name A.O. Baker. Chad, what up?
It's the kid, young Gadawa himself, CHADLAW, live from the big cozy couch right now. Super comfortable. Got to get the pod on. You know what I mean? It's Thursday night. Just we had Thursday night football. We had Thursday night dinner. There's a lot going on right now. So just had to make sure that, you know, all things was accounted for. And now we hit a pod right now. We here to talk some wrestling, some good graps. It's been a while since we was podding. You know what I mean? Since the pay-per-view, a lot has transpired since then. But we got a good rundown for y'all tonight, man. We got that prepped and cooked. We got Champions Watch. We got our Wrestle Dream recap. Stephanie Vacour is in NXT. She's officially here. She's taking some of the best bumps possible. It's going to be a good time, my man. We here, episode 107, live and direct on the YouTube, the Twitter space. Make sure y'all like, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend. It's the almighty RSC, man.
Of course, man. Peace to the third member of the Ringside Club, the good Sir Blame Boogie. I know y'all are seeing a lot of that Hills Have Eyes work that's making its rounds around the media. So Sean Ross
Chicago
talking about that. I'll be there, man. Chicago, the second. Hills Have Eyes. I believe this is the third one. But peace to Boogie. He's been super duper busy, but you know, gonna support that fourth rope and all that. The good Sir Blame Boogie. His fingerprints are all on that. And with that being said, before we get started to anything that's on a rundown, you know what I want to talk about. My guy, Mr. Zack Sabre Jr. is the brand new IWGP World Heavyweight Champion. As far as things that went down at
he was geeked about that, man.
Yo, it's been a long time coming. And it was kind of poetic seeing you know, what happened with Bryan Danielson dropping that title. Full-time wrestling career is over, to pass that baton to the guy that he already passed the baton to as far as being the best technical wrestler. Now the best active technical wrestler is the world champ, number one guy over there in Japan, and one of the top 2 or 3 in the world right now. He beat Tetsuya Naito, and for those that didn't get a chance, or for those that did get a chance to watch the match, it was a hell of a match and really good story of showing how Naito was defiant until the end. Zach, being a submission guy, didn't even bother with trying to even believe or trick himself into thinking that he was going to get Naito to tap out. So he hit him with not one, not two, but three saber drivers because he knew that was going to be the only way is to get a pinfall over Naito to actually get that victory. But it was a solid match. I enjoyed it. And
New era for New Japan.
brand new era, New Japan, new era for TMDK. And we have immediately he's going into some title defenses. He's over in England. They got a couple of shows this week with Rev Pro plus New Japan's over there. But for all of my Saberites out there, it was a glorious occasion and a hell of a match and a pretty good card. So if you hadn't had a chance to go and check that out, check that out. I mean,
Man, shout out to Zack Sabre Jr., you know what I mean, doing his thing, finally pulling off the victory. I was always curious who's going to be the next to take over for the New Japan main event scene. You know what I mean? A lot of people have departed, gone their ways to different various, companies stateside. So it's only a matter of time before somebody of the caliber that Zack Sabre is going to step up. I thought Jeff Cobb could have been there. There's quite a few people I think that could, take that main event space and do something with it. So it's good to see Zack Sabre being the face of could be what bringing back quality professional technical wrestling and especially in New Japan could look like. So that should be real fun to watch. I don't really got nothing to knock or joke about. If you like Zack Sabre Jr. matches, you love him, you hate him, you got to respect the young bull's journey, especially coming up, you know what I mean, in the circuit, cutting his teeth. So
not only that, like there were a lot of his peers. We saw like Gunther send some love out on X. There was a lot of guys that are
he
prominent.
faced
Yeah,
previously too.
not even that he faced it. He came up with. He came up with a lot of these guys, so they've seen and respected his work. A lot of guys that are prominent in both AEW and WWE right now. And let's not forget that Zach turned both. Like Zach opted to stay in Japan. That was
Yes.
even a part of the story where Naito was like, he was kind of talking to the fans like, don't get too comfortable with this guy. You should want to root for me because all he's going to do is win a title and then get a bigger offer and leave, just like everybody else did. And
I
Zach did
can't
not.
front. I thought Zach would have crossed over after the Cruiserweight Classic,
He didn't
but
want to. He was offered a contract. He turned it down. He
yeah.
turned that down. His
Imagine a
move was always
world,
to be the
bro.
top guy in Japan, and now
Imagine
he
a
actually.
world where Zack Sabre was in the WWE.
Why?
Well, it could still happen. He could run his
Nah.
New Japan thing up for another 5 years or less, and then finally come stateside. Everyone seems to. Everyone does. Everyone
Yeah,
has.
but nah, I don't. I really don't think that what makes Zach special, kind of goes away when he has to fit it into the format.
What he's got to do the backstage stare down at
It's
the
not even that. Literally, just in the bell to bell. I think his personality will work fine in WWE. But I think if he was in a situation where a lot that he's a jazz musician, right? A lot of that happens in WWE's. We've gone over this match a few times. So by the time it gets shown on TV, I know where you're gonna be for the next 5, 6, 7 sequences. Zach, on the other hand, is like a lot closer to we're just gonna call it in a ring and fill each other out once we get out there. So what you see is just the same way that somebody, just dusts their saxophone off and jumps in with the drummer and whoever else, and we're just going to see where it goes. That shit goes away.
So
And
what you're saying is Zack Sabre versus Otis on an episode of Monday Night Raw 3 years from now is just not happening. There's no way.
you want that? You don't want that.
It'd be a masterpiece, man.
You
It could
don't want
be.
that. You don't want
Zack Sabre putting Otis in the stretch and the octopus? Come on, man.
Yeah. Nah, go ahead. That's why they should give you the pencil.
I'm book Zack Sabre. Have him be the speed champion, you know what I'm saying?
They
All
should,
the time.
yeah, they should give you the pencil.
Oh,
My
shit.
man just took some Wagyu beef and put that shit on the sesame seed McDonald's bun. The fuck are we doing? What are we doing?
Oh, shit,
But
man.
yeah, man, for all of my fellow Saberites out there, that was a good thing, and I'm looking forward to what the next few defenses and months of him as the IWGP champ look like. But yeah,
Yes, sir, Ski. We got a couple of things that we're going to run down tonight on the docket. You know what I mean? So basically, Prepped and Cooked, y'all know, is our segment of the week where we take a wrestler who is currently on a trajectory of downward and we pair them with a wrestler who is cooked, who is already there. This week, my prepped will be the Beast Mortos from the AEW side. Anytime I see Mordos right now, it doesn't seem to be getting a victory. He just lost a 2 out of 3 falls match at Wrestle Dream against Hologram. Hologram is currently on a win streak. Beast Mortos is on the opposite. He seems to be over. He's now paired with Roosh and Jake the Snake for some odd reason to be the new faction in Global Nobilis, LFI. The verdict is out on the Beast Mortos. Well, I guess the verdict remains to be seen on the Beast Mortos, how it will go. But I think he will be the fall guy in this Roosh faction because you're not going to pin Roosh all the time. And the other fellow, he could be there, but I just think Mortos is just going to be the guy who's going to be the monster who takes the fall because all the monsters take the fall in AEW. So I just think after this week, the Beast Mortos is on the clock and he's prepped for me. How you feel? Been catching the Beast Mortos or not?
I just don't know what was the Jake the Snake link is weird. I think the verdict is still out for me. Since he's come in, he's definitely been highlighted because they've given him a lot of dope matches on TV. The 2 out of 3 falls match was a dope match, but yeah, I don't know. Like creatively, I'm not sure. Like I don't really have anything to judge it off of. So he's there. He's just putting
He's
on really, really dope matches. I don't understand what the link with Jake is and where that's actually gonna go. Like Jake that wasn't even at the pay-per-view. Like it's a brand new faction. We just acquired the talents, and then you get to the pay-per-view, and one of your 3 guys is in a match, and Jake's not there. You know what I mean? So that's odd to me. It's a brand new faction. If you're trying to establish the relationship, I would think Jake would at least make a backstage appearance, a video appearance, be on commentary like Don Callis does. And we didn't see of the above. So I
and
don't
he
know.
will be the mouthpiece for this group moving forward.
But you have to be there to be the mouthpiece.
You cut pre-tapes, you know what I'm saying? They only work but a couple days out
But
the week.
that's what I'm saying. Like they didn't even do that. So as far as like creative in general for that group, obviously like you mentioned Mortos, but for the entire group, I'm not really sure what does or doesn't happen here.
That boy Roosh, you know what I'm saying? He got some potential to shine, but will he? Remains to be seen on that
But I
one.
will say, like, what I put Jake to the side, I think that they will be featured prominently because of the new TV deal that they have down in Mexico. You know what I mean? They're on, I think, Fox Sports down there in Mexico, or um, yeah, I think it's Fox Sports. They have a brand new, like, kind of magazine style review show, Best of the Week in AEW plus the regular show. So they'll be featured prominently, to capture that audience in that
Well,
market. But
American.
creatively, I'm not sure what they're doing right now.
Well, we're going over to the Cook side. Alpha Academy. Otis and Tozawa on the WWE side of things. Them boys are cooked. Sirloin. Sizzled, man. Yet another loss. Ain't no way up from here. It's crazy how far Otis has come. Then to go back down, then go back up again, have some momentum, and now he's currently back down again. That Wyatt feud did them no justice. The Gable feud ended up falling sour, and now they are just jobbers to what's going to be the stars. So Otis and Tozawa, they are my cooked of the week when it comes to a group, character, anything. I don't see anything on the upward trajectory for them. How you feel?
Yeah, I don't have any argument there. But I mean, like, I think they play their roles as guys that you would probably only heat up for a specific type of loss. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think that they were ever going to be in a prominent position. And you see what Gable's been able to do once Gable moved on from them. He
Yes.
upgraded his stable. You know what I mean? So I think that they played their role as far as being the guys that Gable has to disrespect publicly. And now it's back to the 24/7 division we go.
And there ain't no 24/7. They got to be the speed division. They taking on Andrade now. You know what I'm saying? Shit, crazy. I mean, when I looked at the results of every show from this past week, like it was kind of tough to land on somebody who was truly cooked. Quite a few prepped, but like to say somebody was cooked, like with a main emphasis was tough because everyone's got a long term storyline, whether it's Hangman, whether it's Kevin Owens. Like there's just certain even Carmelo and Andrade, they've got some type of situation. So I couldn't cook them, but Alpha Academy, I just read the raw results again, and I was like, yeah, I'm landing here. This looks about right for the week. So Alpha Academy, they are my cooked. The Beast Mortos is prepped. And that is one segment down, folks. Next up, we are going to our Champions Watch. This is where we each pick a champion. We run down their week, how we feel about their week. My week, starting off with Takeshita as the international champion, a brand new international champion. We've all been clamoring for Takeshita to skyrocket. You know what I'm saying? He's noticeably a bigger wrestler. He carries himself like a smaller wrestler at times. He can go. I thought we were going to get Takeshita Okada in the C2, but, it looks like we've got other plans. So Takeshita will be at the top of the international division, which is going to be fun. I think him and Ricochet will have some good matches. Him and Osprey. There's quite a few people I would like to see Takeshita have an extensive title reign with. I don't want to see Takeshita lose his belt for at least like 6 months. Call it crazy. It's AEW. Shit could change in 3 months and he'll lose the belt by Wrestle Dream by World's End. But right now, I think Takeshita should have a nice, healthy international title reign. How you feel about it, man?
Yo, for starters, that match at Wrestle Dream went exactly the way I predicted it was gonna go. I
Stunt show?
said, huh?
Stunt show?
No, not even that. It was a triple threat match, so it's no DQ. So we're gonna get interference from the Callis family, and at some point we're gonna get whether or not Fletcher is on Callis's side or on Osprey's side. Boom, done. He turned on Osprey, and now we have not only do we have Takeshita as a champion like we wanted him to be for quite some time, but we have Osprey involved in a feud that doesn't revolve around a championship for a little while because he's going to go
Yes.
back and forth with Fletcher. And like, what can we say about Takeshita? He's the crown jewel of the Don Callis family. Period. The cool thing about Callis is that he came in, we know him with Omega, and he repped the best wrestler, who he believed to be the best wrestler in the world. He got rid of him and got with Osprey, amongst other people, and said, "This is the best wrestler in the world." Got rid of him, kicked him to the side. You're no longer valuable to me because look at what I have in Takeshita. Plus, I have the newer version of you that I can build from the ground up because he's younger than you. He's not poisoned by whatever you're poisoned by. So this is dope. Like the Callis family, we've been calling for them to actually have some
Sense.
value, some actual value. Like, what does Don Callis bring to the table if he can't get anybody in his squad a title? Now he has the crown jewel Takeshita as the international champion, and he's at the top of the card right now. And Takeshita's going to do what Takeshita does. You ring the bell, it's going to be fire. He can get in there with anybody of any size and wrestle any kind of match, and it's credible. And he's going to go around like I think he's on the was it Maple Leaf Pro
Yes,
against
he's
Josh
Josh
Alexander
Alexander.
this weekend. That card, by the way, looks really really good. Like I might
Maple Leaf
tap
Pro
into
gonna
that.
be a little wave, I think, just on a
Yep.
humbug because if I'm not mistaken, there's no other Canadian company that has the spotlight that Scott Demore and his team does. That's what I was reading of. So
Yeah, like Scott Demore also think he has something to prove. If I'm in
yes,
Scott Demore's shoes, it's like, yo, whatever I tried to do with TNA that the powers that be wouldn't sign off on, watch what I do now. You know what I mean? Like whatever kind of funding he has or whoever's paying for it, if it's out of his pocket or a group or whatever, I think that, with a show, with a card, the way that that card looks, I think they got a nice little at least for the next year, we'll see what they do and what kind of noise they make. You know what I mean? But but yeah, but with Takeshita, ain't got no argument there. Like Takeshita's he's about to kill it. He's about to
yeah,
kill it.
Brian Cage always gonna get some camera time and a paycheck, son.
I'm not mad because what that does is it adds for starters another championship. I don't know exactly when that arrangement happened. If that happened on Ring of Honor, I missed it.
That was last week's arrangement. That was a part of the arrangement because Jake the Snake had Brian Cage and Lance Archer, so that's his.
Oh, I missed the when was Brian Cage with Jake the Snake?
Yo, fam, it's AEW. You just got to Google it or go on Twitter. Come on, man. You know
Nah,
everyone
I
knows.
don't. But I don't even think that's right. I don't think he was with Jake the Snake.
Not Jake. Jake had him and Lance Archer together for a little while because Brian Cage just was floating. He was just, you know what I mean? After the swerved out shit, he just was
Or
trying to
well,
chase Atlantis for the TV title. And then Kyle Fletcher was a former TV champion. So I think that's
yeah.
just a thing in itself. So
Well, look, regardless, like I know you ain't the biggest fan of Brian Cage. I like him. You know what I mean? and I think he's more muscle for that team. You know what I
Him and
mean?
Lance Archer will be the muscle knuckleheads that take the pinfall out of that faction. That's where I feel like they'll go because
Yeah,
you don't let
because
any of
because
the small
because the
guys take
money
it.
right there is with Takeshita and Fletcher. You know, that's the bottom line. The money's with Takeshita and Fletcher. So
Fair
you're gonna
assessment.
have some people that we need to send out just to go and catch the elbows to the neck and all that.
Yes, yes, yes,
Word
yes.
up.
So, who's your champion of the week, man?
I mean, look, I already spoke about Saber. That would be the champion of the week.
All right, that's fair.
But
I'll
we
give you
put
that.
if we put Saber if we put Saber to the side and look at the rest of the really what's going on in AEW, 'cause I didn't really catch too much of WWE. Um, I mean, I did like I saw Jade and Bianca defend those titles or at least have a match or whatever, so that's kind of cool. Um, I'm just keeping it with Saber to be honest, bro. I'm gonna keep it with Saber. Like, I like what Mox is doing as world champ right now. And I like
I'm a
his
fan.
yeah, I like his
It's won me over.
it's a holier than thou. I know better. I know what's best. And if I can't recreate AEW in my image, I'm gonna burn that shit to the ground type of vibe.
And
Um,
he's actually saying the same shit that we're all saying online, which I kind of don't mind.
well, the reality and what I heard, I was listening to Voices of Wrestling a little bit earlier. This is not too far off from John's actual feelings about the direction of the company, specifically last year. You know what I mean? Like a lot of this has to do with who's the top guy, who's the world champ. They're gonna have a lot of influence, not only over their storyline, but over the overall vibe that the company takes. So, for example, when MJF had the title, there was a noticeable vibe that spread across the entire company. Same thing when Samoa Joe. They was like, this is a hard reset. And it felt like between the Continental Classic and Joe winning the title, there was a hard reset. It's the same thing with Brian Danielson. What I feel about Brian Danielson's reign is that although he won the title and it was very short, the storyline revolved around Brian for a while, but he was so reluctant to be the guy and to be the champ that there's uncertainty there in what that main world title picture looks like. There was a lot of uncertainty around the rest of the card. This person goes this way, then they go this way. You know what I mean? So I think that this is also the vibe that we get from Mox right now is that this is a very, very hard reset that's a bit different from Joe.
I
But
like it.
for a guy that's been here, four-time world champion now, first time as a solidified bad guy, you know what I mean? They are getting booed.
There's finally some heels that we can like all in unison be like, yo, this guy's a dick.
And
Like,
everybody's clicking up. Like the thing about like when you see the Bucks, right? And they come down, excuse me, they stand back while Mox and those guys do what they're doing. That's two heel factions, but two completely different styles of heel. To where like fuck that, I'm not that bad of a guy. And I mean, like we're EVP bad, where I'll play you as far as the contracts go. But I don't want anything to do with that. That's violence, right? So that immediately established. But everybody's clicking up. You know, everybody's clicking up. So I think if I'm going with anybody outside of Saber, I'm gonna go with Mox just because I like the vibe right now. It's very raw as war right now, war zone right now.
I think him being the champion is always going to be like the John Cena, Randy Orton reset. Like, all right, when we don't know what direction we're going to go here, let's put it back on Mox and let's take it from here. Because what I notice is if we go follow the trend, it's Mox, somebody unestablished, somebody new, I should say, who's just been established. Hangman, Swerve, a first timer. Then it goes back to somebody who's had a run previously, a Danielson, Punk. You know what I'm saying? A guy who's had a glory day, ROH guy, Joe. So if I follow the trajectory of this, I think Mox holds the belt for a while and pockets or Darby takes it from him, only for Christian Cage to swoop in and take it from them. And that's how you continue this chain of AEW world champions that I just laid out. Like,
Yeah, I think it's laid out for Darby. They did a beautiful job at the end of the pay-per-view of putting the people that they're going to be focusing on the side on some Avengers shit. Like I can't believe what I'm watching right now. We saw Daniel Garcia, we saw Orange Cassidy, we saw uh what you call Darby Allen. They're going to be focusing on all of those guys.
you
Sa-
know, I liked it, but then I also was just like, this looks like a squad of geeks that could just get beat up by Moxley and Claudio and Pac single handedly.
But that's also the work that AEW has to do to get people to not feel that way.
Like I wanted to genuinely be like, yeah, I fuck with this shit, but I also was just like, Hook, where did you come from? Weren't you looking for who beat up your dad? You've got other shit to worry about.
Which I saw that he's I saw there's a video he put out that he knows who, and he's gonna reveal on Dynamite on this coming week,
Oh my
on next week.
god, man! And it's gonna be Christian.
Whoever it is, I think is fire. You know what I mean? Like people want some stories. Who jumped his pops in the back? I
Who
think that's
jumped
dope.
that? So yeah, we got that. I think Darby or Pockets takes it from him eventually, though. Not anytime soon.
I think
And
like if even if it's sooner rather than later, I think like Darby's a lot closer to being a world champ than I think they had to do a little bit of
I
rehab on
think
Orange.
Orange. It's crazy. I mean, it's wild. I'm even putting Orange in the same fucking breath of this, but it's just time, man. Like, come on. Like,
I
at
think is
least give him a month.
I
Like, give
think is
him.
I think is for me. I go Darby before I go Orange.
I would wait for Darby to have that Bryan Danielson moment, but I'd give it to Orange Cassidy just out of like, yo, he's finally gets a win over Moxley,
Nah,
or he's finally had his moment to actually be the man because he's the company mascot. You know what I mean? It's
you
him
can
and
you
Darby.
you. But I was about to say you can say the same thing for
It's him
Darby.
and Darby neck and neck. So it's like, let Orange Cassidy have a reign at least. And it don't got
Why?
to be an extensively long reign. And
I
if
don't know.
anything, I think it's going to be Christian who takes it from him, which is why I think Darby shouldn't win it before. Because as long as Christian has his money in the bank, that is not going to be in a good space for a babyface champion. Which is why I think it'd work for Orange Cassidy. But if you took it off Darby, he's nuclear heat. Like that's the nuclear heat.
That's good. You want
I
as
fuck
much
with
heat
it.
as possible. I'll take
I
as much
fuck with
heat
it.
as possible. Like I
I
think
fuck with it.
either way, if it goes Orange or Darby, I think Christian should take it relatively quick and then just have these guys chase. Like again, I don't think we need to have mandatory long title reigns. Like let's tell
This is what I say about Orange Cassidy. Like this is the move that Orange Cassidy could finally get the W, and then Christian and Nick Wayne and them show up, and we don't even get Orange Cassidy day one with the AEW World Title.
man
It's
had
like,
that Rey Mysterio reign, three
yes, he has
hours.
that Chris Jericho in 2000 title reign where it's like, oh, word, he won at the top of the show, and it's already
Mhm.
gone before the night's over. Like, you know what I mean? So
But that what that does is it gives him something to chase, and I think he'd eventually catch up to him and beat him anyway. You know what I'm saying? Just add another wrinkle to this story instead of having everything so kind of in order this way because it has to be this way.
do you want to run? You want to run down Wrestle Dream? You want to talk Dynamite? Because I figured we could do that before we finish up with NXT. We can end with NXT, but we already on the AEW topic. That's why I was like, you want to do Wrestle Dream or Dynamite? Because I got my gripes with mostly Dynamite as opposed to Wrestle Dream. Well, a little bit of Wrestle Dream. We
Well, I
could
mean,
do
look, I
a
think
three and
what
three. We could do highs and lows, three and
yeah,
three.
I think like what was your match of the night? I'm going with like I really really love that Jay White Hangman match. I
That was
thought
fun.
I thought that was a fun match. I thought like they did a really dope job of highlighting what we all know Jay White's strength to be as a great counter wrestler because he had a counter for so much that Hangman was throwing at him, and that counter into the Blade Runner was pretty sick. Let me see what we have here. Let me see what we have here. But that was one of my I really loved that match. That was a better that turned out to be better than I was anticipating it to be.
I'm with you on that.
You know what I
The whole
mean?
way through on that one. I
Yeah.
think that one was a fun match to start. Jay White needed the victory. Hangman needed it too, but Jay White
Both of
needed
them
it
did.
even
Yeah.
more. They both
Both of
needed
them
it.
did. It's just tough to have Jay White like just come back and lose. You know what I'm saying?
But as you saw on Dynamite, he got his lick back in the same manner as Christian did when he helped him win. So I think this will be a
Right.
fun feud to keep each other busy for the next couple of months so they both have something to do and Hangman doesn't have to feel like he has to go back to Swerve tomorrow.
Right.
So it's just
Right.
nice. The upper mid card is looking good. Jay White needs the rehabilitation. Jay White should be a part of that babyface crew that's facing John Moxley. in an eliminator match or on a pay-per-view. Like Jay White could totally be that guy at the top of the card who's putting in the work in the main event scene because they need it. They definitely need credible babyface. Like Jay White and Hangman and Swerve, like those are some of the names and faces that I would love to see stepping up to this new Blackpool Combat Club. Top Flight and Private Party
It's
and
tough.
in
Yeah.
Dark Order. It's just like that's my gripe with this after Dynamite. I'm like, yeah,
What
but it
what I think is like I agree. I just think if we hit that button immediately, then we lose the establishment of the chaos vibe a little bit quicker than we should. You know what I mean? Like I think what we're doing right now is we see Swerve preoccupied with what's going on with the Hurt Syndicate. Hangman's busy with Jay White. Like all these guys are busy doing other things, even looking at the Bucks. I don't know if this leads to, some kind of
this
breaking
is
up
them
of that
turning
crew.
face,
100%. That's what I was about to say.
unfortunately.
Like, I don't know if this is a breaking up of the crew or they stick together and all turn face. But to me, that was the light bulb going off in their mind. Like, fuck, like this is our company. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're not good guys, but we're not bad guys like that. You know what I'm saying?
Finally, their shit is starting to like slowly churn when it comes to like, aha,
Yeah. But
we're getting
I
somewhere.
think we have to have like we have to have the Blackpool Combat Club like beat guys up first that's like low competition and just kind of roughshod their way and then start making their way up the rankings. You know what I'm saying? As far as like who we're
Yes.
actually targeting. Because like again with Private Party, like Private Party coming out to ask for a rematch after you just got pinned clean, like what am I rooting for you for?
Back of the line, kiddos.
Yeah, what are we doing? And I think they just didn't do a good job of like building Private Party up to be believable contenders. I think what they're doing now is like kind of in reverse. I think long term they're probably going to be the guys to beat the Bucks, but when you have these guys lose for 5 years straight, you can't just, in 3 weeks decide that they're credible contenders all of a sudden. You got to
They
slow
didn't
build this shit.
it didn't work at all. Like any of the near falls that Wrestle Dream just didn't
The
it
only
didn't work.
thing that worked is them kicking out of the BTE trigger.
Yes.
That and like the mirror, like they did the replay of the way that they lost before with the roll up, countering the Meltzer drive and all that. That got a bit of a murmur of the crowd, but that was
Bit of
more,
murmur. Like
yeah, but that was more
for
for
those
the
who knew.
that was more for the moment. I don't even think it was a thing because people got really loud for that when they beat them on TV like that. So I'm not sure that I don't think it was a matter of people not knowing the spot. I just don't think people thought they were going to win at all. So
Nobody.
them kicking
Good
out of the
gracious.
BTE trigger was probably the biggest glimmer of hope. Like, oh shit, I might see something tonight.
Them frying them to start the match just wasn't something I was a
That
fan
didn't help either. And they had
of.
to run that back in the backstage promo.
That was
He's
crazy.
like, hold on, I didn't mean that. Yeah, guys are tough, but back in the line. You know what I'm saying?
Like, that was crazy, dog.
Yeah,
I
that
was
was
like,
OD.
damn, like y'all smoked these niggas boots before they even rang the bell.
Yeah, that
Like
was OD.
that
And
was
I
a,
like looking
that
at
was
that, I was
Paul
like,
Heyman spoiler alert levels. So I'm like,
what
wow,
was crazy
that
about
was
that is I,
tough.
I looked at that, I'm like, yo, are they really gonna have them talk shit like that and then lose? Like maybe that's the tell that they're gonna win the title. I don't know. Let's see how this plays out.
Yeah,
And then they lost clean anyway. Like,
yeah, man. What you thought black guys was gonna win belts in AEW, man? Come on, man.
I don't think it has anything to do with that shit, bro.
I mean, shit, we got the African American division popping right now. You got Leo Rush and Shelton Benjamin. You about to have Swerve and Shelton. You about to have Bobby and Swerve. You know what I mean? You about to have Leo Rush here, just you know what I mean, bouncing in and out, top flight. So, you know what I mean? AEW is getting the African American division together right now. I'm happy to see the African American representation on TV on their side as well too. You know, that company is predominantly dominated by not a lot of POCs. So it's nice to see, you know what I'm saying, our folk getting the shine. Shouts to Queen Aminata, put on one of the best matches she's been putting out. You know what I'm saying? She's been having some great matches on Collision. I've been catching her stuff on ROH. It's funny that Mercedes Monet has some of her best matches against people that are like the underdogs that nobody expects to have great matches with. Stephanie Vakor, Willow, Queen Aminata, but you
I
put her
mean,
with Britt Baker, Serena Deeb, anybody else, and it's just like Emmy Saku, you know what I mean? Emmy, and it's just crickets, man. Yuka
but I
Sakazawa, it just
think
doesn't work.
it's but it's there's two 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 trains of thought with that, right? A lot of those, for starters, we know what Stephanie Vakor can do. She's nice. We know
Not
that
everybody knew
Aminata
what
is
she could do. I didn't
nice,
know what she could do.
but the reputation preceded her. Even though I hadn't seen her matches, the reputation from what people that did see her
For her to be
matches.
a champ, yeah, I would assume. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right,
But my point is, like, Britt Baker is not nice. Like, let's just call it what it is. Like, she was the person that they built the division around because
yeah,
she
she's
was
the
the
first
face and
person to
she was
sign with
popular.
AEW, man. Come
Right.
on.
But as far as like getting in there bell to bell, I don't think that's what she was ever known for. You know what I'm saying? So, and like, I don't know, like with Mercedes and Aminata, that was a fire match. That was a fire match. I'd like to see that shit continue. Like, I think that could be like a longer term feud, not a regular program right now, but a longer feud where Aminata goes back to the lab, so to speak, and kind of gets better and then challenges and shit.
I
Let me
would
ask you this
love for
question.
Aminata to be featured more.
Who do you think should I see a lot of people, for example, calling for Willow to be the next world champion. I don't think that's the story
Yeah,
for her. I think she should beat Mercedes.
I think she's damn near higher than Mercedes in general. Like, I think she's just bigger than most of that division. She's bigger than Mariah. She gets more reaction. She's more exciting in the ring. She has moves. She has facial expressions. Just a little bit more seasoning. And Willow, shit, if Willow was in NXT right now, it would be a fucking problem. That's why I just say her at the top of the AEW women's division is best for business. I understand your logic and wanting her to wait, you know what I'm saying, make it worthwhile. But I just think when you look at Mariah May, it's just fucking crickets, man. Like, why is nobody else, is anyone else hearing these reactions? Anyone else hear the television? Nobody reacts, but anyone who says there's no reaction to Mariah May.
I mean, like, but I think this it's not even that I want her to wait. It's not a build up. I think the story could be dope if she is able to beat Mercedes for that title that they feuded over before.
They clearly forgot about that because I thought that would have been ran back by now, even for Wrestle Dream or
That
something. You know what
yeah,
I'm
but
saying?
that's what I'm saying, and I
Over.
think that also frees up after Mercedes loses to go up into that world title division. And the thing is, like, again, like I mentioned before, Mercedes having that title, whether it was Mariah May or Tony Storm, she was higher up on the card. So clearly, it's not like just a plain hierarchy of what title means more. I think it's who actually holds it. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think like, Willow holding the TBS title versus holding the world title. I just think the story, the feud between Mercedes Monday has a little more heat. And on the Mariah May point, there's no champion can possibly be successful without a good feud. You don't have nothing to do. That's why it's crickets. Who fucking cares? Who is she feuding with? Who do we
That's why
think can beat her?
it's crazy. She calls it out, and it's like, does anyone else call this out? Clearly they know what's going on. But to me, I'm just like, there's nothing enticing, and we already know Tony Storm is eventually going to come back, which is like, do we really need another Tony Storm title reign? Love Tony Storm, but
But like this was my point. We had spoke about it in the chat real quick. I like to see Willow win a title and then they not know what step two is for her reign, which is always a risk that they run, then makes her look like Mariah May or anybody else.
I disagree because Mariah May is supposed to be a dastardly heel.
But again, a dastardly heel to whom? Who is she feuding with?
She hates the crowd. She doesn't want to celebrate title victories. She
Nobody in
wants
the
to
crowd is
insult
beating her.
people.
I'm talking about a wrestler that we think can beat her.
She
Who are they
wants to
heating up?
insult the crowd. She takes on whoever is available in eliminator matches. She uses Tony Storm's maneuvers, and then she does little funny
And
dances
nobody
across the
cares
ring,
because nobody is built.
and nobody cares.
Nobody's built. That's
She
why.
doesn't even look like a credibly built person to be a champion. Willow looks like a behemoth,
I don't
man.
know.
That's it to me. Like, Willow could win the belt,
Yeah,
and
I disagree with the built part. Like I think like she looks
Willow
like
looks like Willow and Stat look like wrestlers. Mariah looks like she's there, but she doesn't quite look like she can beat Willow Nightingale. She did, but
but I
granted, it
think but
came off of a miscommunication.
she's a really good striker though. Like all of her strikes look very, very impactful. The drop kick, shotgun drop kick. There's some moves that look like they'll hurt somebody. You know what I'm saying?
Willow's pounce looks like it'll knock Mariah's fucking wig off, and it almost
Yeah,
did.
but okay. if that's what we're doing, then we just weight division this shit up, and we only have people that are 200 pounds face people that are 200 pounds.
Not in
That's not
AEW.
wrestling.
Not in
That's that's
AEW.
not in wrestling. That shit don't
Yo,
happen.
Mariah compared to Willow, character, maneuvers, everything. Willow is the full package right now for that whole
No, I
division.
agree, but what
There's
my
no
point
reason.
is, if she wins the title and they don't have a feud for her, what's going to happen is in 2 months, people are gonna be like, "This is whack. Her title reign is whack. She needs to drop the title." So that's what my entire point was more so I'm not convinced that they have anything for her if she wins the
I think
championship.
their feud, Mercedes and Willow's feud, goes to the world title instead of the TBS title. I think that will elevate it even more. And it could end up with Mercedes taking the belt off Willow to really go back to a damn, Willow
Cool.
can't beat this chick,
So then that's cool, but then we gotta have somebody beat Mercedes.
which could be Willow again.
So
Because
Willow
Tony
beats.
Storm's a 3-time women's champion already. So ain't no problem with titles going back to previous holders. You know what I mean?
So you're saying Willow beats Mercedes for the world title. Mercedes goes
Mercedes,
into the world championship and wins that, and then somebody has to beat Willow for the TBS, and then Willow moves up to the world.
no. I'm saying Willow skips the rematch with the TBS title. I think she wins the world title 6 months or less. Then Mercedes finally drops the TBS, goes after Willow, beats
That's what
Willow.
I'm saying. Like somebody has to beat Mercedes. Who's beating Mercedes?
Oh, it could be of an array of people. Aminata, Britt Baker, Tony Storm, Mariah May. It could be anyone who's not trying to go for the world title. Like DMD could have beat Mercedes, and niggas wouldn't have batted an eyelash. She's never been the TBS champion, so I think if Britt Baker ended up finally getting her lick back, like, well, that's cool. It gives her something to do, and Mercedes moves up. And what if it's Camille? What if Camille beats Mercedes and takes the TBS title or some shit?
There's a bunch of options. I just get a little
Yeah.
fearful because sometimes there's a lot of cool stories that they could do that just don't happen in the women's
I
division.
mean, yo, Tony held that belt for like the last year, my nigga. She done coasted with that fucking title to the point where
Sure, but like a lot of that time was also spent with it was spent more focused on Mariah May and their relationship than it was in like a really hot feud for a lot of it. Not the whole thing, but a lot of it. It wasn't always loud when Tony Storm was coming out either.
I just see Willow as the big dog, man. So, we there at the same table when it comes to Willow being the
Yeah.
big dog
Like
and
I want Willow to have
topic food
fucking if
chain.
there's a championship, give it to her.
Yes,
You know
I
what I
agree.
mean? Like there's a lot of people that have their best match against Willow. Like there's so many different styles of matches that Willow's been able to shine in. Like she's the hardcore champ, period. There ain't anybody on either the men's division or women's division that has better hardcore matches to me.
She's killing it.
You know what I'm
Now
saying? Like
Statlander's face. So Statlander's a face, by the way, for those that don't know. She'll be going after Mercedes Monet. So this should be very interesting how this goes.
I want to see Stat and Camille. Let's get that. Let's get that.
That's a goodie.
Yeah.
I fuck with that. I like that actually. Stat and Camille sounds pretty fucking good,
Yeah.
actually. Um, one of my biggest gripes about Dynamite, I will say, yo, was the lack of Bryan Danielson inclusion and mention or anything. To me, that was just peculiar on the second run back. I wasn't really sold on like the feel good moment of the outrunners at FTR. And then it's like, oh yeah, but by the way, the rest of the company is getting burned down by the Blackpool Combat Club.
Yeah, that was a little odd.
Like,
That was a
yo,
little odd.
this is what I mean by Excalibur is so fucking horrible, yo. Him and Tony Schiavone add nothing on this commentary booth
Wait, what are they
at
supposed to do?
all, yo. Nigel, like, this is one of the times where I wish they would reset the commentary team like how WWE has given us multiple times over the last couple of years. Like, yo, if we could just get Nigel and fucking anybody else but Sockface and Tony Schiavone. Like anybody else, man. Like I wish Ian Riccaboni was a regular in AEW programming. Like,
Yeah, I like Riccaboni. I don't have any issue whatsoever with Excalibur outside of that fake ass crying he was doing at the
it's
end of the
great.
pay-per-view.
Everything's great. They have nothing to contribute. They just say everything that Tony's like literally it is Tony Khan in their ear because everything's great. Like
I
great.
don't think so.
They have nothing to add. They just flip off one another with, wow, look at that move. Ooh, that's
You
great.
don't think
Like,
Excalibur is like one of the top play-by-play guys?
yo, fuck no.
You
No,
kidding me? He's
no,
calling every move. You don't think he's a top
no.
play-by-play guy?
Yo, dog, Excalibur sounds like a fucking groupie, man. Like, Excalibur does not make me feel good when I listen to AEW product, my nigga. I wish there was a new voice for AEW. I'd rather Nigel, but I know it's not his role. But I would rather anybody else at this point. Like, I'm more Ian Riccaboni and Caprice Coleman. Like, I damn near rather watch Ring of Honor sometimes than listen to fucking Excalibur say, great job, Taz. Oh yeah, check it. Like, there's nothing that Excalibur says to me that I'm just like, this guy's cool. This guy knows what he's talking about.
I couldn't disagree. I have no idea what maybe we're watching two different shows.
Yo, man.
We're watching two completely different shows.
I'll
I think
send you some
Excalibur is dope.
the next time, yo. I literally just watch Dynamite. Like, I'll send you it when I'm just like, yeah, this is what I mean. Like, case in point on Wednesday with the Outrunner shit, the feel good moment, like shit like that, where Excalibur just says stuff where I'm just like, this isn't even. Come on, man.
But what is a commentator supposed to do if the direction that the booker goes in is this is what's going on TV right now? They're not directed to be against that moment right there. If the point was that they're supposed to be like, all right, whatever y'all are doing, y'all shouldn't be doing because it's chaos. That's not them. They would be going into business for themselves if they take that stance. What do you want them to say?
As a commentator, I'll give you the break. I'll give you the clip when I get the next clip, because there's
No,
always
but like in that situation, what are they supposed to do on a commentary team? What are they
yeah,
supposed to say?
anything but whatever fucking Excalibur will pull out of his
Nah,
fucking
bro. I
ass.
don't. We're watching two different
You know
shows.
what I mean? Oh man, yo, I like this is where I'm just WWE'd up. Like, I'd rather I like Joe Tessitore sounds just a little bit more enjoyable and calmer on the ears than Excalibur does at this point now. And he's only been here about a month.
I like Joe Tessitore. I
I like
also
Joe.
like Excalibur. Like
I like
I don't
Joe.
know. I like Excalibur. I like Tony as like the classic radio voice, old school uncle
Yo,
guy.
it's like, come on,
Like
man,
I
move
like him.
past Tony Schiavone, man. Niggas don't use Jerry the King Lawler every week, my nigga. Like,
Yeah, we don't want that either.
you know what I
Let's
mean?
put like Jerry Lawler ain't good. Jerry Lawler stopped
Nah,
being good in
Jerry
like
Lawler ad libs was
99.
going crazy, bro. Come
Yeah,
on, son.
98
His ad libs on anything is
in
crazy, son.
1994,
You
bro.
listen to any commentary from the
When?
Attitude Era with Jerry Lawler.
Exactly. Yeah, you
His ad libs damn near made a match memorable off top, my
absolutely. And you
nigga.
want to know something around that time? You was in junior high. You was in fucking elementary school, bro.
Yo,
You
you hit any clip with him and Jim Ross, my nigga. He was the perfect ad lib man when it came to the shit he
from
was
what
saying.
year, bro?
Yo, 98,
Great.
99, 2000, my
Bill
nigga.
Clinton was president, bro.
There's plenty Jerry Lawler moments
What
where
relevance does that have to 2024?
I'm just saying you don't have Jerry Lawler out there right now in 2024. So Tony Schiavone, you don't have to be there all
But
the time
I
either.
think Tony Schiavone can still call and Jerry Lawler can't.
Yo, Tony Schiavone
I
don't
think
talk
Tony
shit.
Schiavone's style aged a lot better than Jerry Lawler's.
Yo, man. Jerry Lawler could get his off right. That
Yeah, and
shit
that's
was
when I'm on the remote, like bop bop. I hit the last channel button, bro.
like he could get his shit off right now, man. But yeah, just the lack of mention of Bryan Danielson kind of had me just very perplexed, man. Like, niggas just murdered Bryan Danielson on pay-per-view. And we have Tony Hawk and Darby Allin skateboarding. We've got no mention of anything.
But I mean, like, didn't they start out for starters? Like, they had the promo with Mox and all that. They went back to Bryan at some point during, or at least a title match during, because
Bro,
they show like a million recaps of what happened at Wrestle Dream.
they
Was
just
none
giving
of those
you,
Bryan?
yo, there's nothing else to like focus on about what happened. Like, nobody took what happened seriously, I feel like Adam Cole, you were there, you ran out.
Yo, if I have a gripe, your man Adam Cole just came out and
Instead of a
just
bunch of nothing.
a bunch of nothing, bro.
That was crazy. I really sat through that shit like, wow, this nigga is saying
I'm like, I was waiting for
nothing,
them to
right?
kind of weave in why he was the devil, what went wrong with the relationship. He just came out and said the same old thing that anybody says against MJF. Nobody should
Friend,
trust you. You're fake. All right, bro.
you can
You know,
run, but you can't hide.
you
Like,
know
nigga,
what? You're also fake because you were just the devil and now you're messing with the fans.
I tweeted this out last night, but I was like, yo, if Adam Cole would have just came through and just said, none of this makes sense, and none of this makes sense, and none of this makes sense, I think everyone would have reacted at home and in person like
Yeah,
that was good.
but I think that would have been lazy and uncreative. What I think they could have done is like
They
what,
took the scenic route though, for sure.
but they didn't. They didn't even do that.
They took the long route,
They
nigga.
didn't even do that. He didn't take a route. He didn't say anything.
Yo, he just said a lot of nothing for like 15 minutes is what
Yeah,
I'm
what
saying.
what I
Like,
thought would have been like we didn't have to see what went wrong with your relationship with MJF to believe that something went wrong. So tell that story. You haven't been on TV in months, regularly in a very long time. Occasional pop-ups. MJF is here and there, whatever, whatever. We see that he's clearly come back as a heel. Clearly, y'all ain't on the same page. So what happened? You know what I'm saying? Like, what happened? All you got to do is tell that story, how he duped you and the devil in the bag. Like, what was all that about? And we're just gonna completely wash over that as if we didn't see all that. That's the part. Those are one of the aspects of pro wrestling that I dislike. It's like
all,
sometimes there's such a hard reset that we're just gonna hit you with the neuralizer, like the Men in Black joint. And this didn't happen. Don't even worry about asking questions, bro. It just didn't
all
happen.
just for Son to come through and just be like, yo, in order to play dirty, you gotta get dirty. And it's just like,
Nah, that was whack.
what? What?
That was whack.
Like, you're the one who turned, my guy. Like,
Yeah.
what is why? Like, if anything, MJF is just coming through and just trying to like I'll say the TNT. I'll take the TNT division because I think with him, Daniel Garcia feuding, Jack Perry, Adam Cole, that's a nice mesh for that division. I think that's a really good like apex.
Yeah, but I don't think MJF touches any, you know, touches that title at all. I think he's still like upper like kind of lower main event, but still in that main event division. I don't see MJF winning another singles title. Maybe international, continental, but definitely not TNT.
MJF in the C2. It's mad funny.
For the guy that doesn't like to wrestle, to see him in that would be interesting.
I
You
know
know?
that would be good. Him versus Okada. That's money right there, though.
Yeah.
That's some good money right there. But yeah, man. I just circling back to that. Like Adam Cole, you were featured at the end of Wrestle Dream, and you have nothing to say about what's going on with Blackpool Combat Club. Got it. You got your own shit going on. Pockets. You've got the learning tree, and now you're finally getting integrated. So you'll probably be the first real victim of the Blackpool Combat Club. Darby, the Tony Hawk skater video, whether it was pre-taped the week before or not, I just think that was just like tone deaf. It's like, do we really need that? You know what I mean? Like, did you see the video?
Yeah, so it's a commercial.
Yeah, it's just like, yeah, nah. You
Just
could have
just
did that. You
yeah,
could have did that last
just a
week. That
commercial.
was
But I think like that's that to me that's not really all that offensive because we know that's
you're
a
focusing
pre-tape,
more on Tony Hawk's absence than you are Brian Danielson, who just got murdered by. You know what I mean?
but it's a pre-tape. It's like a pre-taped commercial. You know what I mean? So I'm not looking at that. It'd be different if he came out to the ring and was plugging, whatever was going on with Tony Storm. That Tony Hawk, pardon me. Like that was already pre-taped. Like we know that Darby Allen is at home trying to figure out what the fuck his next move is. You know what I'm saying? So that's fine.
And then outside of that, you got Dark World Order and Danny Garcia just leading the charge. You know what I mean? And it's just, I don't know. It's like if this is the best that's going to defend Brian Danielson, it's like we're in for a hell of a winter. I can't wait for Samoa Joe to come back and kick some ass.
I don't know. Like I think like and even with Private Party, they're really to me more preoccupied with what's going on and trying to get the tag titles than they are with what's
Oh
going on with
yeah,
Blackpool
that
Combat
too.
Club. You know,
Yeah,
so like
that
on
part.
on one hand, I don't mind other people having something to do and them focusing on that shit.
Side quests.
Right? It's not even side quests. Like Adam Cole having his beef with MJF, to me, I'm that would take precedence for me if I'm Adam Cole. I got beef with MJF. Whatever's going on with those guys is going on with those guys. Ain't got nothing to do with me. I was out while all that shit was going down. So I'm not mad at that. But for like at some point, like who's the credible person that we're gonna see, kind of start to rise up against Wheeler and then Pack and then, Mox. That's the challenge right now. I'm having a tough time wrapping my brain around who that is supposed to be. Um, just like Daniel Garcia is positioned, but he's not positioned for that yet. He's not positioned for that. He still has beef with MJF, by the way.
Yes, that's what I mean by
You
that
know,
TNT division. Once he takes the title off Jack Perry, he's
hundred
still gonna go
percent.
back to MJF at some point.
I find it interesting how Swerve refers to himself as the most dangerous man in AEW, but he's also preoccupied. Like to me, I see Swerve as being a guy who is super duper credible to be like, hold up, fuck that. I just signed a brand new contract. I'm a world champ. I want this company to be around, and whatever y'all are doing, I disagree. So, let's line it up. But
Team AEW,
right,
you'll
but
be a part of Team AEW, and Mox did beat him in the C2 last year, so
yeah, but he has his own deal going with MVP and the Hurt Syndicate, and Bobby Lashley is around the corner. So I don't
you
know,
know
like
what
it's.
though? I just hope that this Mox shit doesn't overshadow the Hurt Syndicate.
I don't think it can. I really don't think it
My
can.
only regret,
I don't think it. Put it this way, I ain't no fucking. I can't predict shit.
of course.
So far, I don't think it has because I think like whenever MVP is on the microphone for starters, he shines. And I think they've done a really, really good job with weaving this story about how he doesn't think Prince Nana is credible enough to be Swerve's manager and blah blah blah. That's been dope.
It's nice to
Then
see MVP feel like he could be unfiltered on any time he touches a microphone. Like it's kind of dope from like the ceiling in WWE to like if he wants to drop a fuck bomb tonight, he might just get his shit off.
but not only that, man, like the thing about what he's been able to do is what I say all the time is like sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Wherever you are, make it work. And it wasn't working in WWE. We saw that the Hurt Business had potential. That's one of those groups or those acts where they didn't go as far as it really should have or could have. There was a lot of potential there. They got the fuck out of there.
It's
Whatever
like
they had to
Brothers of
do,
Destruction.
whatever they had to do to get out them contracts or run them contracts out, whatever that. Now they're here, and so far this is amazing. That Shelton Benjamin Leo Rush match, I don't think you can give somebody a first match, first look to get them over any better than that.
That was really good. Good
Shelton
on that.
Benjamin came out, looks like a straight killer.
Shelton ready for the C2, boy.
Shelton's ready to rip somebody's neck off, bro.
We definitely don't need Lashley right now. Like it's cool on Lashley. Like take your time.
But like, look at how well they're establishing the Hurt Syndicate right now. You see
I appreciate
MVP
it.
going around and he's like dropping cards with everybody. So we know that he's recruiting who's going to be the guy to jump. He's maybe there's dissension with the
Top
Acclaim. Maybe
flight.
there's dissension with Private Party, dissension with Top Flight because he gave that card to Leo Rush, who's down with Top Flight. You know what I'm saying? Like this, he's doing a good job of recruiting, and they're just doing a good job, period,
I
of
agree.
establishing that act. You know what I mean? So it's interesting. Like everybody's clicking up. There's a bunch of clicks that are happening, whether it be through recruitment, trades, contract, whatever we see with the Don Cat. There's a lot of heels. Now it's like, all right, who are going to be the faces that go after these top heels, like
Yes.
credibly? That's the challenge.
It's gonna be a doozy to see how that goes. So I mean shit, man. I think we ran through just about everything. Oh, we got Chris Jericho, Mark Briscoe too for the ROH title ladder match. The era of Jericho. I think Jericho beats Briscoe
I
on a
guess.
ROH program and
I
becomes.
thought that he would have. It's tough. Like on one hand, I was like, I think he could have beat Mark on that first night on for the first match. But when you bring up Jay's name so much, it's tough for me to see Mark lose in that case because it's like it's weird. Like we didn't
Correlation.
necessarily need Jay's name brought up in the first place.
Yes. That's everyone's pretty much takeaway. So I think Jericho got his point across. Like, yo, I'm a heel, so
Yeah,
let me mention Jay because everyone only really pinpoints anything of this feud being that Jericho mentions Jay Briscoe, and then it's like, okay, we're feuding.
Yeah, like I'm not sure I get it, but anyway, like I don't know. I don't
The
really have
fact
much
is,
to say. Like I think like if I think Jericho winning the Ring of Honor championship could be interesting, but a lot of things could be. Let's see what happens. You
the
know,
fact this isn't even happening on Ring of Honor programming is rather interesting to me. Like, isn't there a pay per view like
I
they
don't
would
know
rather
what
do this
is or
on?
isn't happening, or I can't even speak on. Like it is happening a lot on AEW TV, but I don't know if Mark has much of a presence at all. Like I haven't watched Ring of Honor in a bit, so I can't really talk about it.
The highlight of the recent week was Atlantis Jr. fighting someone on a 3 match card. Honor Club.
How long is the episode?
There was 3 matches.
Yeah, that was the whole.
So
What did they have? Segments like a half hour?
I caught it in a highlight form. That
Oh,
was it. It
okay.
was just
Yeah,
three.
I haven't watched it, so I can't speak on Ring of Honor.
You know what I mean? And that was just this past week. So it's like, shit. Like, I guess that's what we got for Ring of Honor. But we could
What's
wrap up.
Athena doing?
I couldn't tell you, bro. I couldn't even tell you what Athena's doing. Like, I didn't really catch anything Athena. I don't really hear anything Athena. Like, I don't really hear anything Ring of Honor unless I go looking for it. Let's put it like that.
Which is fine. I can't speak on it because I haven't seen it. I ain't gonna
Yeah.
play it. I just haven't seen it.
Uh, Something that I did catch NXT. You know what I mean? Trick Williams is back champion. Ethan Page, the number one contender. They will be running it back. They have got to end this fucking feud, man. And they need some more credible main event guys in NXT ASAP. Like ASAP, sap, sap, sap. Trick Williams should have won the world title back. I'm been gonna go on the limb and say this. I know it was for the CW, it was for the big pop and all that, but now this is where your whole the baby face gets the big win, and what the fuck do we do here? Like, where are we going here?
This is my point, which is what I was just saying about Willow. Yeah, Willow gets the big win, then what? And because I don't see anything lined up, that's why I was like, maybe we don't need to rush into this right now because I don't have faith in the booking. And you're saying the same thing for Trick,
Willow at least has competition. Trick doesn't have any competition.
but they have to build credible. It's not even that there aren't capable people. I need somebody to be a credible threat. Is a big difference.
Statlander could be one for Willow. Willow's got credible threats though. Willow could definitely have credible threats between Statlander,
Before a world title picture though. You know what I'm saying?
Statlander. Her and Statlander could run it back again. I think everyone will still be happy. Her and Mercedes could run it
Look,
back.
she has built-in feuds. I'm not saying she doesn't, but Statland ain't exactly burning it up right now, by the way. You know what I'm saying? All of a sudden
Yeah,
we had this face turn and I'm supposed to cheer you. Why? You had that was hot. What you was
yeah,
doing with Stoke was working.
you know what I mean.
They
So we
dropped
got
it.
yeah, and he's moved on. He's moved on to greater pastures himself. Yeah, so I just see Trick losing the title to Pete Dunne. Crazy enough, I think Pete Dunne takes the title finally, like eventually,
What about
maybe even
Oba? Like
sooner.
he dropped that title for a reason, no?
Yes, he could be moving up. He could have a feud with Trick, but I just don't think they're gonna put the title on Oba just yet. I think Oba has that like Braun Strowman. Yo, he's a beast, but he just can't get the job done in the main event just yet. You know what I mean? I think they give him that type of run. I think Pete Dunne deserves it over Oba, if you ask me. If there's anybody who I think needs an NXT World Title run, it's Pete Dunne. The loser weight is always going to lose no matter what lately. But I think if he had a good run in NXT, he's the good heel main event guy that can keep it up. And he's still from the original era, black and gold era. So I'm not looking forward to a street fight essentially at Halloween Havoc, Ethan Page, Trick Williams. I didn't mind Ethan Page being the champ, yo. I was perfectly fine with it. He caught a lot of flack because people had no idea who the fuck he was for the most part. And because he came from AEW. So that already was like the 1-2 combo of like, yo, this guy sucks. He's terrible. No moves. Crickets. That's all I gotta say. Like, oh, okay. All right. Well, he's a credible heel and he's got history and he knows how to talk and dress. So works for me. Like I think he's a very solid heel and he plays the role well as the dominant heel. So Trick winning the title back to me, I just don't see this being a long title reign again either. Like I said, I just have a funny feeling the loser weight comes back and becomes the bruiserweight and take the title from Trick. Because there's nobody right now, bro. There's nobody in NXT, my nigga. There's just absolutely nobody that's gonna. The main event for this past Tuesday was Javon Evans, Wesley, and Ethan Page. Javon Evans is not winning a match ever. Wesley could possibly. Wesley could possibly hold it down, but it's like you still gotta get over the hump. You know what I mean? Ethan Page is the only reliable option. Outside of that, there ain't nobody else in the main event scene in NXT, and it's really peculiar to me. So I think we're going to start seeing more people coming down from the main roster. Um, I wouldn't even be surprised if Carmelo Hayes returns and fights Trick for the world title. Crazy. Because on SmackDown, he still got to hold it down. But I just like that division is so dry that Melo could go back to NXT and just be like, yo, let me get a title shot. I'll fuck you up and take my title back, like type shit. Like that's how dry that division is. But the women's side of shit is smoking though. Stephanie McCoy had her first match against Ren Sinclair. That was good.
She had one of the illest dragon screw leg whips I've seen
This
in
girl is
a
on fire,
while, bro.
man. Stephanie McCoy is going to be a problem, dog. A problema. Her and Julia. Julia's getting more and more comfortable. She's, you know what I mean? Got to get her facial expressions a little bit better. She's working on it. But Stephanie McCoy is going to be good. Cora Jade and Roxanne, a nice little duo. It's going to be real fun to see them fight amongst each other. It's going to be really good. Nikita Lyons got to pack it up though. She's really terrible. She's really not doing it for me, man. I don't know if you caught Nikita Lyons versus Lola Vice.
Nah, I was in and out of NXT. I saw a little bit here and there.
Yeah, just type in Nikita Lyons on Twitter and you'll just see everything writes itself.
Yeah, I'm good. I'm good.
You know what I mean? It's just a lot of injuries, man. Like I just think with a lot of injuries, you got double knee braces and you ain't even made it to the main roster yet. Like this ain't gonna be good for you, Shorty. You know what I'm saying? Like you a walking injury every time you get in the ring. So that's tough. NXT, I think, has got to start giving up them tag titles. Like Nathan Frazier and Axiom are just you just can't keep having them be the tag team champions, man.
Yo, did they win when we were in Philly?
Yo, my nigga, I think they won when we were in Philly too. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's legitimately like they have the tag division. They are the generic. Yo, let's go with Nathan Frazier and Axiom.
Yeah.
So we need some new faces in the tag team division in NXT. Otherwise, a solid show. CW Network is really good. I'm enjoying it. The product is just strong. Definitely a worthwhile watch on NXT, man. So check it out if y'all ain't ready to check it out. You know what I mean? Make sure y'all lock in to NXT on Tuesday nights, man.
I gotta catch up with TNA that's airing tonight. But
Yes,
I like Josh Alexander as a heel, man. I
me too.
wasn't I wasn't I hadn't watched in a little while and I saw last week's episode and just saw the promo. Just his talk game is so believable. He got some young guys with him right now, but he was talking like just premium shit. And I just enjoyed that. So I can't really speak too much about TNA because I haven't seen much outside of last week's episode. But just a little bit that I saw, I wanna kind of jump back in for a bit and see what that's hitting for.
TNA's got Bound for Glory coming up on the
Yep.
26th. Rhino's getting inducted into the Hall of Fame. The card looks okay. Josh Alexander is facing. We were just talking about this. He has a match. Does he have a match?
I don't know. I gotta look at the card. I know the world title
Nick Nemeth,
is
Joe Henry,
yeah, Moose and Santana.
Moose and Santana. Jordan Grace is fighting somebody that Masha Slamovich, I think. So that should be an easy W. Um, and Mike Bailey, I think, is defending the X Division title against somebody. Oh, Full Metal Mayhem, Hardy's, ABC, and the System for the TNA tag
Yep.
titles. So that
Yep.
should be
Yep. Yep.
fun. And that's just off the top of the head. I'm just remembering, but they didn't have a stat card. Last I looked, where I picked this off of, their card really wasn't stacked. So I don't know. I'm just really curious to see how this is going to turn out. Pay per view is only next week, and the card is really just the champions right now with the Moose and Mike and Santana match. So I don't know.
Yeah,
We'll
we'll
tap
see.
into TNA after this, though. You're right. I do want to see how they're going to shape this card out because like Bound for Glory, they always pull up with some surprises. So maybe we
And
will
this
see
is their
debut of somebody new
biggest.
too.
Yeah, this is supposed to be their biggest show of the year, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, this is their WrestleMania.
Yeah,
So this should be a debut of somebody possibly. You know what I mean? Whoever's still out there who's free. Could be Elias who's gonna come walk with him. Who knows? You know what I mean? Ezekiel.
Ezekiel.
Ezekiel making his debut in TNA. Yeah, I mean, it could be anybody, but I think TNA brings in somebody else left field. Shit, JBL will probably be back. You still got
I
to get
mean,
a JBL appearance.
but he's not wrestling though.
He's not wrestling, but for the sake of Nick Nemeth, he's been popping up. So
Yeah, yeah.
that's what I mean by like maybe he will pop up. Does he cost Joe Henry the title? Remains to be seen. But I think Joe Henry ends up becoming the new TNA World Heavyweight Champion at the end of this, and maybe a heel turn from Nick Nemeth to put it over the top. So
Word up.
TNA for y'all, man. Make sure y'all check it
Indeed.
out. And check us out too on the YouTube, on the X, all
Yes,
that.
sir.
Man, it's the RSC Almighty.
Episode number 107.
Yes, Sirski.
That being said, it's about that time, man. Episode 108 next week. Be live like we usually do on all the channels. But for Chad Law, my name is A.O. Baker.
We ain't got
We
no
out of here.
PLE too. There's no PLE for another 2 weeks, so we good on the prediction shows, y'all. We gonna have some more content for y'all next week. Actually, we talking C2 because the season's coming, and I've been talking C2 every time I watch an AEW match I like. So next week we talking C2. Who is our sleepers? Who are our picks for the
They,
the gold bracket and the blue bracket
they
for the
definitely
C2?
got to start announcing those names for
I
those for
agree.
that bracket sooner rather than later.
I agree.
That's a fact.
Next week we will be talking about that. We'll have our champions watch. We'll have our prepped and cooked. There's no pay per view coming up, so we'll just have
Nah,
more
there's
quick
some there's
clips.
some there's some good stuff coming up. I know this weekend is a good New Japan show as well as a good Rev Pro show. Both of those look pretty. The New Japan show looks really stacked. I can't lie. I gotta check the Rev Pro joint again, but this is like both of those are in England, so it's Zach's homecoming, so that should be pretty dope. And then yeah, like we talking TNA right around the corner with Bound for Glory. So
Yes,
there's some good stuff coming up for sure.
I'm with
And
it. Man.
and Maple Leaf Pro is this weekend. Maple
Oh
Leaf
yes,
Pro is this week.
Josh Alexander to catch this. So yes,
Yeah.
that'll be some good grabs to watch.
Definitely tapping into that. That's on your Trillers and your Hot 97 every day. That's my word, I
I'm
mean.
fucking with it. I'm definitely fucking with it.
Hey man, we out of here.
We gone, man.
Catch y'all
107.
next week. Peace.